everybody. Welcome to the RONLINE Report. I know all of you guys who watch this are gym goers, so you know this situation very well. We have today the owners of Atilis Gym in Bellmawr, New Jersey, Frank Trumbetti and Ian Smith. You've probably seen them all over the national news, Fox and Friends, Tucker Carlson, all kinds of national news outlets. I'm very, very fortunate that they agreed to talk to little old me today. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here.
It's an honor. Thank you.
How are you? Thank you.
So a little history first. I've always heard of Atilis Gym. When did you guys get this particular location?
We actually purchased this location from the other owner on June 2nd of last year, and it was falling apart. They were behind on their bills and everything like that, and I had opened up a small nutrition store inside of it because I've had a nutrition store for 24 years called Rock Bottom Nutrition, and we had heard the owner say that actually for the right price he would sell. And I went to Ian and said, "Hey, you interested in this?" And I think we can do this. And on June 2nd, we bought it and we renovated it, we cleaned it up, and we built a hell of a community in 9 to 10 months.
Wow! So you basically took a failing gym, turned it around, got a great membership, and then this happened. So. It was roughly around the same time, I think, for all states. But when did you get your order? It was sometime in March from your governor.
March 16th. March 16th at 8 p.m. is when the order came down.
And indefinitely, right? We're shutting down until further notice.
Well, we were told to give the governor of New Jersey 2 weeks, and very quickly that 2 weeks turned into three turned into 4, a month turned into 2, and now we're into month 3 now. So. Originally, he didn't express that it was indefinitely, but very shortly after he got everybody to close, that became very apparent that there was no date to reopen, and there were very little plans put in place to move forward.
So Governor Murphy is your governor, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Governor Murphy of New Jersey, yes.
So when did he announce like a 3 or 4 phase opening program at any point recently?
And he has no idea. He has said different phases, but doesn't know how he's going to do anything with the phases. And that's where it came up. From day one, we thought we were allowed to be open anyway, just based on the verbiage of his executive order, because the executive order 104 7-C stated that we were all gyms were to close to the public and remain closed to the public. And public means all members of a country or community. Well, we have members. Once you buy a membership and pay for a membership, you separate yourself from the public. So we truly believe that we're allowed to be open just based on his own verbiage of those type of things. But on day one, Ian was training in his own gym, and we said, okay, if we're going to be closed down for 2 weeks, we're going to actually do some renovations so we can be CDC compliant and actually be able to do social spacing in the gym and those type of things. So I started to work on taking down the front counter. Ian was training in his own gym. Someone took a picture of him training through the window, sent it to the Board of Health. The Board of Health called the local police, and they came over and they actually threatened from the Board of Health with a $50,000 fine and loss of business license if we did not cease what we were doing.
Of which we've never seen any paperwork or anything like that. We called the health department, both the county health department and the state health department, and there was
and the attorney general.
Nobody could provide us any answers. It was just threats after threats after threats to remain shut down, using public entities like the health department to be weaponized against us in order to keep us shut down, indefinitely, essentially.
So it sounds like you have a private gym of your own that's not open to the public, Ian?
No,
it's memberships.
Once we had shut down on March 16th, we were there the next day because Frank and I like to work. And I was just kind of getting my workout in, and somebody looked to the front windows and took a picture of
not allowed to train in his own gym.
Yeah, and I was expressly told that I was not permitted to use my own equipment in my own gym. That was a violation of the orders put in place.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've actually spoken to a lot of gym owners, local and national, and people with private studios, and they don't understand the logic in that. They say, I'm still paying my rent. I'm still paying all these bills are still coming in, and I do have my doors closed to the public. I can't train in my own gym.
Of course, it doesn't make any sense, and it seems to be a lot of this seems to be rules that are just kind of made up on the spot. You know, these executive orders have come down from the governors, and local authorities, I think, are left to kind of figure them out as far as what's permitted and what's not. So you get a lot of mixed signals, you get a lot of misinformation, you get a lot of lack of follow up when you do ask questions. But yeah, we were essentially told we were not allowed to use our own private property under any circumstances.
So, you know, everyone knows the story already that you opened in defiance of the governor's orders. What led to that? You know, how long had this been going on? We're looking at like 8 weeks,
2 months. We sat down and we literally worked every single day, you know, on getting ready where everybody else was complaining about everything. We literally came to work every day, renovating the gym, you know, looking up CDC regulations, doing everything we could and researching and reaching out to companies. Okay, how can we actually provide the safest environment? So we actually, for a little over a month, we actually were putting this plan together from day one. And, you know, changing the gym so we could practice, you know, social distancing, everything at least 6 feet apart, things that weren't putting signage and those type of things. And when Governor Murphy actually extended it to where it would go, where if it went to the end of it would be more than 2 months, we went to the local police and we talked about it. And we said, okay, this is enough. Okay. And I went to the local police and said, if by May 8th, they do not have a plan, on May 11th, we are going to set into action our plan, which is actually to go onto social media and do, you know, we wrote a letter of what our intentions were, and we actually put it out there as a safe reopening of New Jersey, all small businesses and the United States. It was not about us opening our gym. It was about getting back to business, and all small businesses are essential. And we actually put our plan out there. Well, and then we told the police that if they didn't have that plan by May 8th, that we would be opening up on May 18th. And he asked for 2 weeks. We gave him 2 months. He had no plan. We have a plan, and we are going to put it in action. And we believe that we can provide a safer environment than any big box could even think about doing. We're actually safer than actually going into a doctor's office with all the precautions we have taken as far as that goes. And then May 11th came, and we put it up on social media, and the bearded man actually made his speech, and it's been, we were actually hoping, no exaggeration, we thought this would stay local. We knew we'd get the attention and the support of all of our members and all of our family and friends and people that have actually patronized my store for the last 24 years. And maybe we were hoping for a couple hundred other people and maybe get one media outlet to actually cover this when we opened up on May 18th.
We were wrong about that.
We were ignorant of the enormity of what we were taking on and the weight of, like, we just look at ourselves as, I mean, we're just two gym owners own a nutrition store, and we just thought everybody was like us, you know, that this, you know, we didn't know that our balls were bigger than everybody else's, if that makes sense. You know, it's just because it's scary, you know, it just, but the national attention that we got has made it a little bit easier because, you know, we wanted to go to social media way because we felt that if we just opened up, government would squash us. Yeah. And if there's nobody to see it, they don't even know that they squashed them. Then it's he said, she said. But once we went out into the media and the media picked it up, the government didn't have a leg to stand on, and they realized they couldn't shut us down legally. They know that the verbiage that they put in their own executive orders, that they had no way of shutting us down legally because we weren't doing anything. They had violated our constitutional rights, and they had to actually sink to actually giving us a bogus Board of Health violation. They backed up our sewer on us. The Board of Health actually closed down in something called a notice of embargo on Wednesday night with never stepping foot in our facility, saying it was, and they used coronavirus as the actual notice of embargo. Meanwhile, there's a chiropractor next to us who's open, but you can't get corona there somehow. And they never, like, it is a blatant disregard for our constitutional rights.
So let's back up to May 18th. So that was the day. What was that first day like? I know you had Ian. Tell me about you know what it was like. The measures you had in place to keep people safe, and how many members came in, and how long did it take before someone from your city or state or came by and cited somebody?
So I'll explain our safety procedures first. We set out to go so far above and beyond what businesses that were allowed to be open were currently doing. You can slap a mask on and wipe your cart down and go into Walmart, and the government tells us that that's at least relatively safe. They're saying that that's okay, or you can slap a mask on and walk into the liquor store and grab a bottle of vodka. So we set out to go so far above and beyond those procedures that businesses that are deemed safe and essential were doing, that if we were to be shut down, it would be absurd. So the first thing we did, we track every member who comes in. There's a detailed record of who was in, when, and at what time, and for how long. So that if anything did happen, we would be able to look at who was in the gym and provide information, which is something that big box can't do. Temperatures were being taken at the door. Anybody that is 100.4 or higher is not permitted to enter, and that comes straight from CDC recommendations.
And for those temperatures, we actually installed a biometric facial recognition thing called a Medic Air. It's actually you walk up to it and it's a computer screen where it actually detects and if your temperature goes above 100.4, an alarm goes off and it will not let you.
Wow.
It locks you out. Nobody has that.
And for people some people are a little wary of that technology, so if they don't want to, we have infrared thermometers as well. Everybody who comes in signs a medical questionnaire. Have you been in contact with anybody? Have you had any symptoms? So on and so forth. Then the rules are read to you, and you agree to them. You sign off on them. Masks must be worn at all times except when performing an exercise. Each individual who walks into the gym is given their own spray bottle of disinfectant, and they're asked to clean equipment both before and after use.
And each of those bottles is actually labeled with a label that has the MSDS code on it that actually is guaranteed. So in case the Board of Health was to come in, it actually proves that actually the product that we are using is actually CDC compliant, and the actual MSDS scan code as far as based on dilution factors, and actually it's proven to kill the coronavirus within contact for 45 seconds at the dilution of actually 6 ounces per gallon. And also when they come in and they're signing up their health questionnaire, we mandate that they actually use hand sanitizer first. When they pick up the pen or pencil and they actually sign off, that comes out of a clean bin, and that pen or pencil gets put into a bin for disinfection, so it's never touched by anybody else.
Wow.
It's as you can tell, as we're rambling these off, we've gone above and beyond. We also have something called an air scrubber in the building, which pulls in air. And
it uses ultraviolet lights with hydroxyl generators that actually provide an actual chemical-free, purified air that is guaranteed to be 99.9% virus-free. It circulates 5,000 cubic feet per minute. Actually, so it's like, and nobody's doing that.
So beyond that, there's a bunch more measures. The gym has been spaced out so that almost every piece of equipment is well beyond 6 feet apart, including cardio, weights, stuff like that. There's markings on the floor so that if you're in the free weight area, you can stand here and do your shoulder raises or whatever it is. And in places that that equipment is too close, there's signage that explains, hey, please take turns. So anyway, we put these measures into effect.
We're using dry foggers on a regular basis. The dry foggers are used at least once every 3 hours. We also have actually what's called an atomizer, which is actually a fogger that actually is heated up, that actually takes the actual same chemical and actually it disperses it like a extremely fine steam. So you don't even have to wipe it off. So all major touch points, and we go around in the morning and in the evening we can disinfect and sanitize every single surface, and it never has to be wiped off. Again, it's with an Ecolabs product that is actually guaranteed to kill the coronavirus within contact of 45 seconds based on the dilution factor, and it doesn't have to be wiped off.
So well, clearly you guys have above and beyond doesn't even cover it. I mean, some of the stuff you were talking about, it just went way over my head. I didn't even know these things existed. But
it is Governor Murphy.
It seems like your governor and your board of health, they don't care because they're going to tell you when to open regardless, and you're not going to do anything without them saying it's okay. So that very first day, you got cited. Did members get? Were they trying to cite members as they left, or were they trying to arrest anybody?
So what happened on the first day, we had a very big turnout in the parking lot, just support. We had a line wrapped around the building, again, 6 feet apart, wrapped all the way around the building at 8 o'clock, waiting, people waiting to come in.
Because we were allowing 44 people in at a time. That's another measure we took that actually based on what other states were doing. Other states were acting at 30, 40, and 50% capacity. We dropped it down to actually 20% of our capacity, which would allow us to have 44 people to come in to the gym at a time and get their pump on. And we left 3,000 square feet that we have on our upper level. We didn't even include in that, so we could actually allow our employees to allow for our staff and anybody else who wanted to come in.
So Monday we opened up. There was police presence in the parking lot. They were just kind of there for public safety. You know, again, a lot of these guys, they're a part of our community and we're a part of their community. We support local police. We're friends with a lot of them. So they were there just kind of watching. And then at about 11 o'clock, the lieutenant approached the building, and it's a video that went viral. So you might have seen it. It's where he walks up and he says, you know, you're all in violation of the executive order. Have a nice day, and walks away, and the crowd erupts. And that was kind of the sentiment that the police had. They didn't want to disrupt what we were doing. 50 minutes later, that same lieutenant was forced to come back by Governor Murphy and the county prosecutor to hand us our first round of summons. That was it for the day. Monday went on. You know, we didn't shut down. We just kept going. Amazing day. Tuesday,
over 300 people came in to get their workout.
Oh, wow.
Tuesday,
and they each one of them signed a waiver actually with their health form saying that they knew, and our legal team would handle it, but they actually signed a waiver saying that they knew that they could actually be given a disorderly person thing in violation of the executive order, where they can get up to $1,000 fine and 6 months in prison. And do you still wish to enter the building and lift weights? Yes. And they all said yes.
So Tuesday began the persecution of our members. Frank and I were cited again. One member of our gym was arrested, and several other were cited. They were sort of pestering people out in the parking lot, following them to their cars. Wednesday, Governor Murphy shifted his tactics because the media was there, and it began to look very bad, especially one of our members being arrested. But every time we would accept a citation, we would accept it out in public. Wednesday, they started mailing us our citations to do it out of sight of the media. And
the prosecutor actually called our lawyer, and on Tuesday, no exaggeration, the lawyer said he's never heard this before. The prosecutor called our lawyer and asked when Frank and Ian would be available to come over and give them their summons. They asked for an appointment. They asked for an appointment
because they didn't want to do it in the eyes of the media. And then Wednesday, they set up an eye in the sky camera in our parking lot, and instead of getting people as they came out of the gym, they were watching cars to see how long they were in there, and they had cops parked down the street, and they were pulling people over down the street to give them citations as well. So we've had in total we've had about I think upwards of 10 or 12 members be cited and or arrested. Frank and I at this point, I think we have about eight or nine charges each. And that leads us into Wednesday night.
Wednesday afternoon, Governor Murphy had his briefing, and in his briefing, he basically threw his hands up and said, okay, we can't shut these guys down legally. We're going to throw the Board of Health at them. I'm sure there's some violations there. And within an hour, our sewage backed up into the gym. And it didn't affect anybody else in the shopping center,
except us.
Just a big coincidence. Yeah. So we emptied the gym out, obviously, because that would be a major health code violation. It took 3 plumbing companies to actually dislodge the whatever they did in the back of the building where they had actually done it. There was so much water pumped back into the system. Now, we had been closed for 2 months, and we're at the top of a hill, and gravity, obviously, water seeks its level, so it would go down. And our entire sewer system was completely filled with water. And when they finally got it to break, actually, where they had clogged it at the main clean out at the back of the building, the actual sewage and water shot up in the air 8 to 10 feet for about 15 minutes. There was so much water. But meanwhile, we had been shut. And then we go to Wednesday night.
So Wednesday night, in the middle of the night, the health department came by and slapped a mandate to shut down, which was a notice of embargo on our door, without ever stepping foot inside the building, without ever contacting us. So when we got there on Thursday, we weren't quite sure how to approach the situation. being that it was very clear that from the beginning, Governor Murphy was going to weaponize public institutions against us. The first thing he weaponized was the police. The police did not want to be doing this. It was very clear from the onset that they were unenthusiastic about it, and they were stuck between a rock and a hard place. Trying to not get involved, but being forced to be involved. And these institutions are, what's really sad is these institutions are there to protect the public, and they're being weaponized against the public to enforce Governor Murphy's will, because there is no legal precedent for us to shut down. So we did adhere to it on Thursday because we wanted to make sure that, when we set out, we set out to be civilly disobedient. We didn't set out to do anything criminal. And we truly believe, based on the verbiage, like Frank said, that we weren't in violation of anything, and that this, in fact, was a violation of our constitutional rights. So we stayed shut down on Thursday.
And we had to bring an emergency cleaning company to come in and make sure that actually, because of the sewage that had come up only in the bathrooms, they had to come in and clean up and make sure that once again we had to go through the entire building and
clean everything,
everything once again and everything, which we were cleaning it anyway. But the emergency cleanup, especially when you're dealing with sewage, when you're dealing with fecal matter,
it's not something that you can just mop up.
You have major health potential risk there. So
upon contacting our legal team on Thursday, they looked at the health department mandate to shut down, and they told us that it was very flimsy at best, and it was essentially just an extension of Murphy's executive order. The reason that we were closed wasn't specific. It was, you're closed down because coronavirus, and that's kind of it. So, with nobody ever stepping foot in or taking a look at all the measures that we've done, it was just slapped on the wall in the middle of the night, and that's it.
Then we opened back up on Friday. Business as usual. People lined up to come in and get the workout in. It was a very smooth day. We went, eerily smooth, eerily quiet.
We were waiting for the other shoe to drop all day.
And then late in the day, and when I say late in the day, it was 6:30, 7 o'clock at night on Memorial Weekend. We got notice from a lawyer that actually Governor Murphy had gotten a judge in Mercer County who was a prior attorney general for the state of New Jersey to actually uphold the Board of Health's embargo on us and keep us shut down. And not only keep us shut down, the judge had actually said to our lawyers that they would not chain and padlock the doors because we had already shown that actually we would actually cut the bolts off. If they did it, we cut the deadlock off and we would go back to business because they have no legal precedence to do that.
So they changed our locks.
They actually said that they were going to change he mandated they change our locks. And they even said that if one of us didn't show up to unlock the door to show that there was nobody inside, that they would break the doors and then lock it up. So obviously at this point, we don't trust anybody. So I had my wife drive me up at about 10:30 at night, met 2 of the local police officers and three officers from the sheriff's department. And I let them in, and I asked them if they wanted to get a pump on because it's like we just sat there and casually waited. Seriously, and it's like they started playing with our facial recognition scanner, the temperature, and going around, and they checked to make sure nobody's there while we waited for 45 minutes for a locksmith to show up, and the locksmith changed the locks on the doors, and the only person now that actually has a lock to get into our business is the prosecutor.
So that's where we're at.
Another violation of our constitutional rights.
A gross violation of due process. We were shut down with a health department mandate, yet nobody has ever even stepped foot inside of our building.
So you guys took some serious action. You filed suit against your governor, the Board of Health, and the Attorney General. Am I right?
And the head of the state police, correct.
Wow. Okay. And, that's obviously a long, drawn-out process, any kind of suit. So, what's your plan? What are you hoping for?
Wednesday we will be heard in federal court, and actually we're trying to get an emergency injunction, and we were trying to get it this week, but the judge actually doesn't want to act very quickly. He wants to actually give the state a chance to actually, he wants to read over everything we're claiming and the state is claiming, and that we're hoping that on Wednesday that we will be given a emergency injunction, because they've taken away our right to make a living and, unjustifiably and violate our constitutional rights. And at this point that we are hoping that they give that injunction, and we're assuming that actually Governor Murphy will actually appeal it to a higher court. So even more reason that the judge that was assigned to us in the federal courts, because we refuse to go to state courts, and with the federal courts, we believe that judge wants the extra time to make sure that he dots his I's and crosses his T's, because if he's going to actually, either way he rules, whether he rules for the governor or for us, there's going to be an appeal, and he wants to make sure, we believe that he wants to make sure that he has actually done and read enough about the case and done enough research on it that he can actually make a firm decision that he can stand by, and they would stand up if either we were the ones that had to appeal or Governor Murphy had to appeal it to a higher court.
So let me ask you this. Every state's different in their opening, but I have seen a pattern that gyms are never in phase one, no matter what. They have most governors seem to be coming up with 3-phase plans. That's like the magic number. And gyms almost across the board are in phase 3, which makes it seem as if they're more dangerous and you're more likely to catch coronavirus at a gym than you are at a nail salon getting your nails done, or someone cutting your hair right in your face.
The salons are in those end phases too, though. The salons are right there with us. Bottom line is they don't respect our business, in any way whatsoever.
And
they don't want us to be healthy. If you think about that, actually mental health, physical health, emotional health, everything. If we actually can allow everybody to go back to the gym and be stronger, we actually can deal with this pandemic a heck of a lot better. And we're going to have, they're not talking about the increase in suicides, the increase in actually drug overdoses. In my own town, in a 72-hour stretch of one officer working 6 12-hour shifts, there were 27 drug overdoses. Nobody's talking about
a lot of people. 2 points. One of them being, nobody wants to talk about all of the amazing benefits from going to the gym. The critics always say you guys just, you're just selfish. You just want to work out so you look good, or you just want to hit your, somebody said something about hitting a deadlift PR. And it's so much more than that. The people that come to the gym, there are plenty of people who come because they want to look good, but they want to feel good and they want to be healthy too. And that's physical and mental. We have a gym full of combat veterans, police officers who deal with a lot on a daily basis.
Recovering addicts,
people who come, and this is therapeutic for them. It's a way for them to deal with stress, anxiety, depression, all these negative emotions in a very positive way. But gyms especially, all these governors and politicians who are ruling, and saying that gyms can't open, most of these people have never stepped foot inside a health facility. And they make these sweeping assumptions that they're dirty places. There's this stereotype that gyms are just dirty places. And if they took the time to actually step in to a facility, especially one that's a local business, small business, and not talking about big gyms, but small businesses in general care more. We're involved in every step of the process. We know every single person that walks through our door. So we have no problem going above and beyond.
And on top of that, when you look at when they first shut us down, we didn't know what to expect. They didn't understand the quote unquote, they tell us they didn't know what to expect from this COVID-19 and everything goes along. But the more research that comes out, they're actually showing, in the past few days that it's almost impossible to catch it from one surface to another.
Yeah.
So everything we're doing with this fogging and everything like that, it goes above and beyond and not doing anything anywhere else. But they're saying it's not even necessary. Yeah. So it's, and it's just crazy that they've forgotten why they shut us down. This wasn't about a virus, if you ask me.
The idea that by walking into a gym, Governor Murphy calls it a petri dish.
Wow.
The concept of walking into a gym and just coronavirus hanging around, waiting for you to step in the door so it can get you, is absurd, because the likelihood that you're going to get it especially with these safety precautions in place, the likelihood that you're going to get it in the gym is no more likely than if you walk into a crowded grocery store,
or a hospital
filled with people, or any other place. And it's almost laughable where, they're making these distinctions between places where you can get it and places where you can't get it. For some reason, big box stores are, coronavirus free. Get your local small business, your local hair salon, whatever the business is. Apparently, that's where coronavirus hangs out and is just kind of waiting in the shadows for people to come. So
and apparently, alcohol kills it, because it's alcohol is essential, and same with marijuana. The dispensary, apparently that kills it.
You know, churches were phase one, I think, for everybody, I believe. I mean, even
They should have never been closed.
Yeah.
They should have never been closed.
Even if you're social distancing in a church, they're singing all the time. You're singing, praising the Lord, whatever. This is what they believe to be the most common way for it to transmit, is just these airborne particles from people's mouths.
Wear a mask.
It just seems like there's obviously I'm biased because I'm a gym guy, and this is the one thing, the one aspect of the shutdown that's affected me and most people I know the hardest is gyms being shut down. But it seems there's such a bias against gyms, and I'm looking at pictures of all these health inspectors serving summons.
They don't want us healthy.
Yeah,
they all look
healthy.
None of them look healthy. Some of them are morbidly obese.
No, yeah, the health department officials who are all making these things.
Yeah. I truly believe, and obviously it's always out there and everybody knows about it. From day one, though, we talk about, they want us to, shelter at home. Okay. They want us to be weak. Okay. They want us to have a compromised immune system. They actually have it. I believe they have a plan from the get-go when they shut us down and they asked for 2 weeks. But somehow in New Jersey, 11 days later, the government had passed a $2.6 trillion, stimulus package where they were going to give people $600 free to stay at home for 16 weeks. I told Ian right then, we're probably not opening up until July. We have to have a plan. Okay. And now they're trying to extend that to the end of the year. Okay. The political ramifications that are going on with this is ridiculous to me. Because I truly believe that they are trying to make the sheep as weak as possible, so that when they decide to open everything up around, the end of the summer and give us Labor Day, then going into the fall, when we're going to see that spike, because obviously there's going to be a spike no matter what, because it'll be flu season. But all of these people who have sheltered in place and weakened their immune system and they're afraid, they're actually going to get it more. And then they're going to say, see, I told you so. And then they're going to try to shut us down again. Okay. It's just ugly. And then that's why they don't want gyms open, because if the gym is open, all of those people are going to be healthier. I tell people, go out and lick somebody. It's just like build your immune system. Plain and simple. It's just, I don't want to get into my whole story, but I just lost my mother to this, and on Tuesday, and I kept my mother safe. I have 5 children. We've practiced safe socialization. My mother lived with us, and my wife is in pediatric emergency room nurse. We've been around everybody. We cohabitated. We played games together. And my mother went into the hospital on April 19th, COVID negative with diverticulitis and anemia. My mother passed away on Tuesday at 6:55 a.m. with coronavirus. She got it in the hospital. Okay. So if there's somebody who takes this more serious than I do, show me them. Because I have an extreme vested interest, and Mr. Murphy has failed not only at protecting our rights, but protecting our health.
Okay? The health procedures that are all put in place have been fallen laughably short. You look at the percentage of deaths that have occurred in long-term senior care facilities. Nationwide, I think it's upwards of 45%.
It's over 50%.
Yeah. And these are places that are supposed to be socially isolated. So if you're isolating these places, how the measures that they've taken, they were putting COVID positive people in there. So you look at that, and you look at the fact that these studies came out at USC and in Florida and in New York, showing that despite being locked down, upwards of 10% of the population has already contracted coronavirus and developed the antibodies. So the lockdowns aren't effective. The only thing the lockdowns serve to do are to socially isolate people, which is not good for mental health, to physically isolate people, which, you're in your house is super clean. Your immune system works by interacting with the world around it. When you shelter in place and everything's sterile, your immune system is going to get weaker. So everything seems very counterproductive, and again, alcohol is essential. Go home, drink. Don't worry about it. Take your government check.
I truly believe they want us so fucking drunk and high that we don't remember how bad they fucked us.
Well, I mean, it sounds like I hate to be a conspiracy theory guy, but it does seem like a massive plan to keep everybody weak, weaken their immune system, weaken them physically, emotionally, spiritually, just so they're easy to
strip our civil liberties too. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy guy either, but when you smell smoke, there's usually fire somewhere, and I don't think anybody understands all of this, but I think that people all over are starting to smell smoke and kind of look at this and question the policies that are being put in place. It's just even with businesses reopening in New Jersey and all around the country, and these states that are still locked down, the states that are still locked down all seem to have a beef with the federal government. They all seem to be leaning, blue states. And there's this political warfare where it feels like the middle class is being held ransom between two clashing political ideologies. And not to get on one side or the other, but that's not the way politics works. And that's not the way a health crisis is supposed to work. This isn't supposed to be a political war. We're supposed to come together all as Americans to put forth plans on how to remain safe, but also how to remain productive. The idea of sheltering in place is absurd. It's not a workable long-term plan, and they keep trying to extend it as this workable long-term plan.
And essential versus non-essential is absurd also, because we're all essential. Plain and simple.
Feeding your family is essential. Period.
Our economy is being destroyed. It's being destroyed. It's going to take years and years to bounce back from this.
Absolutely.
The longer this goes on, the more people lose their businesses. What are we going to have to come back to when they finally let us out?
So the governor just opened up the state of New Jersey to all professional teams could go back to practice and game. His wife owns a professional soccer team. So a professional team, they can bring the whole team in, all their trainers in. I don't know a professional athlete that would ever get out on the court without actually exercising and actually making sure they were healthy. So all their trainers, so they have to open up their gyms in order to do that. So I'm confused. Okay, so you're allowing the professional ones who actually are going to pay a lot of taxes to you and those stuff, and then they're probably paying revenues because of all the money that they make and that they generate. And your wife owns the soccer team, but it's unsafe to go to the gym
for the general public.
I'm very confused.
Piggybacking off of what you were just saying, every small business that shuts down, that money that small business brings in is money that stays in the community. When Frank and I, make money from the nutrition store and the gym, we spend it in the community for the most part. We go to other small businesses and that money stays in the community and helps the community thrive and be strong. And every small business that shuts down, it's not only a business that shuts down and jobs that are lost because we all employ people, but that money never returns to the community, because for every business that closes, Walmart, Amazon, and these big box stores pick up that revenue, and that revenue doesn't come back into the community. That revenue goes right up the chain, right to the CEOs, right to the politicians, to the lobbying groups, and everything like that. And the more businesses that close, the more fragile that these communities that make up the backbone of America and make up the backbone of the American economy, they're going to start to get weaker and weaker and weaker, and a lot of them are going to be approaching the point of utter collapse. It's important that we keep money local. If we take care of the community around us and other people take care of their community around us, we're all stronger together. But as these businesses shutter their doors, Walmart, you look at the profit margins that Amazon has made through all this. It's in like the I think tens of billions or whatever. It's absurdly large. He
is set to become the world's first trillionaire. Wow.
Yeah, and that's
thanks to this. This helped
exactly, and it's a little fishy.
But even the crazy part there is they originally had said, okay, he's only going to be allowed to actually ship essential items. They're shipping everything.
Of course they are.
I mean, it's absurd that they allow that to happen. But it goes back to liberty and justice. Justice is righteousness and equitableness. Okay, there is no equitableness when you're saying that somebody's job is more important and somebody's business is essential and somebody else's isn't. Where is the equitableness? We're promised these things, by the Constitution of the United States. It's like when you're looking at what liberty is actually to be, free of the oppressive restraints put on by the authorities that be on your way of life and living and religion. And if this is not oppressive, I don't know what is. It goes directly against what liberty is. That's simple. Like, I'd like to ask Mr. Murphy if he even knows what the definition of liberty is. Plain and simple. The idiot actually said that the Bill of Rights was above his pay grade. It's his only pay grade. Yeah, you didn't hear that on Tucker Carlson. He was actually on Tucker Carlson. He was asked on what authority did you actually, he had on Easter Sunday, he had 15 people arrested, mandated they be arrested and charged for congregating in a synagogue and praying together. And Tucker Carlson literally asked him, with what authority was he able to go above the Bill of Rights? His exact words were, I was not thinking of the Bill of Rights when I made that decision. The Bill of Rights is above my pay grade.
Wow.
Yo, Mr. Murphy, that is your pay grade. Your only job is to every decision you make to protect the rights of the citizens of your state. You have failed at protecting our rights, and you have failed at protecting our health. You know, he can't even control his own house. Actually, up in Paramus, actually, there's an old, with a veterans rehab center. Actually, last number I believe I saw was actually 76 deaths in a state-run veterans home. Okay, it's state-run. Control your own house first before you tell me how to run mine. I kept mine safe.
Yeah.
And my mother got it in the hospital. Okay, I kept mine safe. Don't tell me we're human beings. You know, it's like you protect our rights, we protect our health. You know, it's like as adults, we're allowed to make that choice, even though 480,000 people a year die from tobacco-related health issues in the United States alone. It's essential to them. They allow an adult to make that choice, even though 88,000 people die every year in the United States from alcohol-related health deaths. Not DUIs, not that. Again, they still make alcohol essential. They actually make alcohol, and they say alcohol is essential because too many people would go through withdrawal. Okay, so it's okay for those people to go through withdrawal, but the person is served in war, and actually the wounded warrior and the person who was an addict and has beat that, who actually uses the gym as their sanctuary to actually keep their mind clean, their health, and literally that is what keeps them. They're not important. So you're telling me that because you can make revenues off of actually the taxes, and five months ago, marijuana was not legal in the state of New Jersey. But somehow dispensaries are essential, and it's okay for 400 people to line up outside in line to go get high, and they don't even take credit cards. Okay, you have to have cash. Talk about a freaking scam. You know, it's I'm serious when I say I think they want us drunk and fucking high, so we don't realize how bad they fucked us. When it comes through, and it's disgusting to me at this point.
So guys, I'm sure you've been contacted by so many gym owners across the country, probably internationally, and they're all in a similar situation, but they're probably afraid. You know, I talked to my gym owner, and he said I could open, and the fines that they would give me, I could deal with the fines because I'm losing more money than that every day anyway. It's a pretty big facility, but Board of Health, they would get him in the end. They would not renew his business license. They would slam him with, OSHA would come in and say there's some mold up in that corner and we're shutting you down. I'm sure
that's why we're doing what we're doing, because that's why it's important for us to actually file these suits.
So that's what I want to ask you. These people are probably looking to you guys for some sort of direction or guidance, because you're the ones. There's very few. There's been a couple others who've stood up, made a stand against the unconstitutionality of it all, and opened up, and they've been shut down, and gym owners have been arrested. But what advice can you give out there to all these gym owners who are struggling right now that their doors are not open, and they know that they're able to run a facility that's safer than Walmart or Costco or the liquor store? Would you encourage them to do something similar to yourself, or what would be your best advice?
The advice that I would give is not just for gym owners. It would be for all small businesses. And that advice is to first of all, not be afraid of what could possibly happen with the government, because the reality is that the thing that we should really be afraid of is closing our doors forever because we refuse to stand up against something that is scary. I won't pretend like Frank and I haven't been scared this whole time, but it's more scary at the possibility that we may lose everything that we've ever worked for forever, and that way we may lose our way of life, our beautiful American dream. There's nothing better in the world than being a free citizen of this great country. And what we're seeing now is a massive erosion of those rights. And if we don't stand up and we don't push back and say enough is enough, then we're going to lose that way of life forever. And that includes for our children and everything else. So as much as there is the threat of imprisonment and fines and loss of business license, if everybody starts to stand up and the media is now watching. The people are watching. Like I said, people smell smoke. They know there's a fire somewhere. People are now engaging, starting to ask questions. People are going to be on your side. So you have to think long and hard, and don't just open and fling your doors open. You need to take the time to think about how to open your business, whatever it may be, in a safe and responsible manner. And there is a way. There absolutely is.
They need to go out. They need to be diligent of their industry, how to actually be CDC compliant, practice social distancing, and even more important, stay strong. You know, have a base out there where actually, if you need to go on social media to get attention so they can't squash it. But the bottom line is, you have to stand up, and you're going to get fines. You're going to get those things. But what we actually have realized, and we didn't realize the enormity of what we were taking on, but at this point, that now we have actually filed in federal court. Okay, in the end, if we win, every small business will win. Okay, so and that's the most important thing. You know, it's just like I'm scared as hell. I'm scared of hell of everything that's going on. You know, but there's no way we're backing down. You know, if you have the community behind you and everybody's rallying behind you,
will support
and you do it safe and you do it responsibly and abide by those standards. Like don't open up one day and be okay because the cameras are on you. And then as soon as the cameras are off, and the most important thing I would say, don't trust anybody, because when everybody's coming through the doors, like, we don't know. Yes, there are members, but you know what? You know, there's a lot of crooked people out there. You know, there's like, you know, somebody get, you know, pay somebody's, you know, behind on their bills and something like that, and you offer them a certain amount of money, and they come in and they sabotage it, and they start using their camera and show that, you know, and they're taking a selfie of doing something stupid, and they have somebody else post it and say, look at this idiot. They're not practicing social distancing. They're not doing this. So it's like, you know your people. You know, have a plan. Be safe, be responsible, be CDC compliant, and be strong. You know, it's like we got very lucky in that. I mean, obviously we had to have the wherewithal to actually be willing to go public. But it went so public that the backbone that we created actually stands us up straight, you know, against the government, because they realized that they don't have a leg to stand on. They couldn't just come in and squash us because everybody's watching.
And don't be afraid to ask as a small business, especially if you're a small business who does right by the people, which I truly believe most, if not all, small businesses care more about their patrons and their community around them than any big box store will ever care.
And we've gotten a lot of help from local businesses because of that.
Don't be afraid to ask people for support, because they will come, and they will come in droves. We asked for support and we got 100 times more support than we ever even imagined possible. People care. And it's, if as a small business owner in your community, whatever it is you do, if you take a stand, there will be people behind you who support you in ways that are absolutely stunning. And there's no way that you can describe how powerful that is when you stand up and you look to your left and you look to your right and you look behind you, and there are people there who say, I am with you. Even if it's a little bit of financial help, or if it's, you know, we've had, like I said, we've had members get arrested because they support us so much. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Be afraid of the possibilities of what could happen if you don't take a stand.
And don't rely on anybody else, because when we first did this, there were other businesses and other gym owners that were supposed to do this with us. And as soon as we went public, their sphincter muscle contracted, and actually, they grew vaginas. And seriously, I'm serious when I say that. They were all gung ho. We got this. We can do this. We got a plan. And then we get out there and we look behind us and we're like, yeah, okay, I guess it's us. You know, and
people stepped up.
But businesses, and we spent basically our last dollars in business on cleaning supplies and those type of things. But when we made this vocal point on social media and we were put on, we went to national media, the uproar from, in a positive way, of other local businesses that were deemed essential, the outpouring of support and being willing to actually provide us with going above and beyond. We had already set the parameters of how we were going to keep everybody safe, but because of other members of the community who own small businesses who were still up and running, they were thriving, and they know that their business is never going to do as well as it should be because nobody's going to have any money left if everything else, it's like, yeah, they're up and running, but it's it's like I have my nutrition store up in Cherry Hill open, but I can't be a hypocrite and not open up. I'm losing $250 to $300 a day just to open my doors, but I don't want to be a hypocrite and say, okay, I'm essential and I don't want to open up because I'm going to lose money. So I'm actually losing money every single day doing that. But those people that do come in appreciate that we're still there. I'm trying to, to keep my mindset going and keep everything building as far as that goes. But these businesses that are open that are considered, essential, other than the big box, a lot of them are hurting. They're open, but they're still hurting because
throttled at 50% capacity
because nobody has the money to spend. Those type of thing, and so it's like the outpouring of support you can get in your own community. Like we've even though we've only owned the gym for 10 months, we've been members of this community, and I've been a member of the business community for almost 24 years now, and those people know that if I give them my word, I'm never going to back down from it. And if each individual person out there, whether it's a gym, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a salon, whatever business you have, if you sell little trinkets and clay trinkets or whatever, use your support system you have around you to actually make you strong. Have a backbone. It's like plan it ahead of time. Don't just go to your local police and talk to them. Don't actually blindside them, because then they're on your side. They're on our side. They don't want to have to do this, and we went about that, and we have a good relationship with our local police officers, and we've even gotten actually people from the state police that actually that are, we know for a fact that they're on our side.
Bottom line is that the support is there. It's quiet, and it's waiting. It's waiting. The support is waiting for something to support. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and you're not alone. And you'll be, if you open up a gym, you'll be considered a hero. We're not heroes. We're not heroes.
I mean, but you kind of. I'll tell you what. To a lot of people, you are. Whether you want to acknowledge that or not. To a lot of gym goers, a lot of gym owners, the courage that you both had to stand up to the government of your state in the face of getting arrested and fined and losing your license.
But what's the other option? We lose a business. We lose what we built, and then all of those members actually, they don't have like I used to always say, I just needed a place that had weights. I'm a fat old guy right now that I've had 18 surgeries. I got a fake shoulder and all. But like I fought till I was 40 years old. I've done everything, and I used to say all I need is weights. Yeah. And then I built a gym where it's such a community. Our weights are heavier than everybody else's, and it's just like, I mean, we have world-class people, world-class athletes, everything. The community, it says we got a 17-year-old kid who actually is trying to break Eric Lillibridge's squat record of actually 725 pounds before he turns 18 years old, and he's completely drug-free. And every time he goes for PRs, the whole gym stops, and is in support. You don't find it. We're a gym. We're not a fitness center. That simple. And I say we got a 43-year-old guy who actually squatted 830, deadlift 725, and benched 475 in his single meet for a 2025 total. At 43 years old. I mean, we have a 65-year-old guy who never lifted weights before he was 54 years old, who benches 430 pounds.
And if
which is world records.
If we collapse and other small businesses collapse, that's what you lose. You lose the important stuff like that, the stuff that drives people, the stuff that gives people purpose, that the backbone of who we are as people. I mean, you're now with these lockdown orders and all this stuff, you're messing with people's lives on a very fundamental level. You're taking their purpose from them. I mean, these people pour their blood, sweat, and tears into these things, and it is by definition who they are. And you don't find that in big box. Yeah. You find that in small business, that's any small business. It doesn't have to be just a gym. It's not just about a gym. It's about going back to the premise of this entire thing, is that this is a violation of our freedoms and our constitutional rights, and that it is not government's job to protect our health. It is government's job to protect our rights. And we are free citizens. We can be responsible adults, and we can make good decisions just like we make every single day. And it's a massive overreach, and it just needs to come to an end, because we're all adults. We can make good choices, and we should have the freedoms. We're granted the freedoms by the Constitution of the United States, of this amazing country, that we can make those choices. And it needs to stop now.
And people are voluntarily going to the gym. They're acting like we're, the people that are against it are acting like we're coming to their house and dragging them out and making them go to the gym. It's seriously, it's crazy. What people are saying that we're killers. We're killing people. And I was like, ma'am, could you please give me your address so I make sure I don't come and drag you out of your house and bring you to my gym? Seriously, it's like, it's crazy. Like we have, we have a guy that should go pro this year as a bodybuilder. It's just like he shouldn't have to worry about every day where am I sneaking in to train, because stress and the increase in cortisol changes everything your body actually does. And actually the more stress he's under, the less chance he's actually going to be able to actually be in the best condition possible to actually do what his goals are for his career.
You understand that.
I mean, it's just like, and that's a big thing. It's just, it's just a way of life for people, and for health, emotion, physical strength, everything that goes along with it. And everybody deserves to make their own choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, like I said, a lot of people are looking up to you. A lot of people are following your story very, very closely. It's sort of a microcosm of what's going on with the small businesses in the United States overall. You're, as you keep pointing out, Ian, this isn't about gyms. It's about small businesses, and they are the backbone of the United States, whether people want to recognize that or not. It's the absolute truth. That's what this country was built on, and that's still the basis of our economy. But we're all hoping for a real positive outcome with this. We're hoping that the federal judges see things your way, and that's going to be a precedent. If you guys win in that's certainly going to help other people get the courage to come forward and do the same thing. And finally, maybe this madness will be over sooner rather than later.
Yes,
we sure hope so.
Absolutely. We'll get a positive outcome no matter what. We'll fight until we get it.
Cool. Frank, Ian, thank you so much for your time. Frank, sorry.
Thank you.
Condolences for your mother.
Thanks.
That's a heck of a story. And like I said, the whole world is watching, not just America, but we're all watching Atilis Gym, Bellmawr, New Jersey. What's going to happen with these guys? So thanks for taking a stand. Thanks for having the courage, because we are being subjugated by fear right now. This whole country, it's a big thumb pressing down on us all, and someone that's actually having the courage to push back and try to get under that thumb. It's inspiring what you guys are doing. So thank you on behalf of everybody, really. So that's it, guys. Everybody, thanks for watching the RONLINE Report. This has been Frank Trumbetti and Ian Smith of Atilis Gym in Bellmawr, New Jersey. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, man.